When people first started hearing about the coronavirus, it felt like a far-off possibility for us. We continued with our daily lives. When we received the first case, we continued, but with anticipation. Most of us never expected that we would spend the next 3 months inside our homes, only going out when it was absolutely necessary, practicing social distancing, and wearing a mask in public. Life as we knew it came to a halt. Schools and offices shut down, loved ones got sick, the economy suffered, and people lost their jobs. And there was a tremendous pressure put on essential workers such as grocery workers, medical professionals, mass transit workers, and more. Meanwhile, everyone else, including students, were told to stay home. This was a particular challenge for students in the arts here at LaGuardia Community College, where students had to learn to pivot in order to deal with various effects COVID had on their personal lives. 2 students shared their experiences. The following clip is from a student, Alexandra, who is also a model. In this clip, she interviews her photographer friend, Karina, and they reflect on how photo shoots in the time of social distancing work.
For me, there's like a huge lack of human interaction that I miss, obviously, with it, and like the collaboration of working with other people, more so than just the model or the artist. Like there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes, like with styling and the whole creative process behind the scenes, like with so many people collaborating. That part is definitely like a little lost in this situation. But I think on the other hand, there's something really beautiful in like finding a way to still make art in a time where it's like not as easily accessible. And I think it's like forcing people who are already so creative to just like find a new way to make it work. So especially with like the fashion brands that have been doing it and magazines, I'm like, honestly, I found it really cool that like they can still find a way to make something that exists, like not even on the internet and not even on this medium exist this way, which is very cool. I even like saw a lot of artists like making music videos where they like pull up a green screen, and like I'm sure if anything they're using like a larger team than before to like help create something that isn't there physically. So yeah, I think part of it is very cool. It's very creative in just like a very new, challenging way. But I definitely miss like the human interaction, like the collaboration part of art.
But I saw you did this kind of photo shoots as well. So what's your experience with that?
So specifically the person that I've done it a couple times now. The one that I've shared most recently is with this girl named Lisa. She owns a brand called Heavy Manners. Her brand is like the most beautiful clothing, and it was just like there was definitely a challenge in trying to get how like stunning the work that she's made. Like the clothing that she makes is so beautiful in real life, and it's like it's so much easier in person to get that kind of thing on camera and show it. And it's definitely a little more challenging to like get that kind of quality through FaceTime. But on the other hand, it gave us like such a cool option to just like goof around and like try and make it work in her like small New York City apartment and just like figure out what she had that would help accentuate the clothing that she's made. And so it goes both ways. It's like very 50-50. I feel like my experience with it has been fun because it's given me like something to do and a challenge, and at something that I'm like, for the most part, I've gone like used to doing in real life. So it's enjoyable, I think, at the end of the day. It's like something to do in a time where it's hard to be creative right now.
Right. Are you happy with the result? Like the picture?
Yeah, definitely. The result, it's honestly very fun. And I've always really loved like the medium of like collaging art and like mixing mediums and like layering photographs I've taken before with things I've taken now. So I was able to like take other things that I've done with her in the past, or just like things I photographed in the past, like from traveling or being around New York, and like mix it with the images through FaceTime. So it definitely opened the door for me to like try a new way of working with my photography too.
That's great. Also, I would like to ask your opinion about the future of photography. And when this all social distancing, how it's going to work like, or the photographer is going to do it through like not physical contact.
Yeah. I mean, to put it simply, I would say I feel like art has always existed and will always exist, and with whatever challenges come and go, like art has always been a thing in history, and I don't think that like we'll ever stop figuring out a way to make it work. And I feel like that was pretty clear even just with like FaceTime and like doing Zoom shoots was just like the beginning of what I'm sure will be like a world of this type of medium. And I think like even post pandemic, like whatever the world's like after this, I feel like this will honestly probably be a new way that people will work together, because I've even seen it just open the door for artists who are just in such faraway countries that would never have the opportunity to work together unless like maybe like a brand were to set it up or something. Mm-hmm. And so it's like open the door for like models and photographers, or like just any type of people that would otherwise maybe only virtually know each other, like create art together they never thought to do before. So I don't know, I think art will always exist. I don't think there's like an end in sight for photography or any kind of art, really.
As we can see, creativity can be a challenge in these times. However, it was also a coping mechanism for some. In the next clip, student Felicia shares 3 beautifully written pieces outlining her experience with COVID and how she used creativity as an outlet for these tough times.
March 19th, 2020, 11:20 a.m. Who would ever thought I'll be spending another birthday year not happy? Last year I didn't even get to celebrate my birthday the way I wanted to because I was too busy grieving someone that I lost. And it was all during the time I was doing a play called Gun Violence in LaGuardia. How crazy is that? I was doing a play called Gun Violence, people, to actually losing someone from it. What a damn shocking coincidence. And what makes it worse is that it happened a few weeks before my birthday, and his as well, because we share the same birthday month. It was a tough pill to swallow. And now this year, I have to celebrate my birthday quarantined because Miss Rona decided to rain down on my parade. So yes, I am very sad and disappointed, because this wasn't the way I was expecting to celebrate my 24th. March 30th, 2020, 5:00 p.m. Here I am, thoughts spiraling again. All 3 of us, my mom, dad, and I, have COVID. What is this world coming to? The question I have yet to find the answer to. All I could really do right now is pray and write. Pray and write. Pray and write. My mother got it worse than my dad. My mother got it worse than my dad and I did. I can't help but to think to myself, is she going to die? Is this going to be the way that my mom gets taken out? No, not at all. I don't want to believe that. God, you hear my cries day and night. You hear me shuffling, not being able to sleep. God, you hear my mom moaning and groaning in the other room in pain. God, I ask that you heal her, that you heal me, that you heal my dad. Take over. I surrender to you. Fast forwarding to May. My whole family is healed and corona-free. My mental and spiritual state is still a little rocky certain days, but overall I'm doing very well. I'm able to now get to work, get things done, go outside for a walk, of course wearing a mask and taking precaution, and just mainly being able to do things that I wasn't able to do when I was very ill. Going through what my family and I had to go through is a constant reminder to me to take it day by day and to be kind to myself. This world is already crazy enough, and the last thing that we need is to put even more pressure on ourselves. The way I responded to COVID was by writing a lot, reflecting a lot, talking to God a lot, and even doing a little of contemporary dancing. That was my way of getting through. And you can too. Like I always say, life is to be lived. Be free.
These stories are each an example of what life was truly like for many students in the LaGuardia community. But although they seem to be very different, they do have one thing in common, the fact that art perseveres. When we all look back on this moment, we can say with confidence that art found a way to not just exist, but to thrive. And while social distancing threatened to separate people from each other, from their careers, their dreams, art found a way to connect people in different ways, opening up possibilities, giving people the opportunity to reflect and grow despite the challenges. The lesson that I take from these two stories is this, that no matter what challenges, art will always find a way. In her book, Moving Beyond Words, published in 1994, Gloria Steinem says, like art, revolutions come from combining what exists into what has never existed before. Years from now, although we will certainly remember coronavirus as a trying time full of uncertainty and political unrest, I hope we can also look at it as a time of revelation and revolution.